Yeah, I used to roll backwoods, Rick the Dawn's good wherever he goes. 1 million and one flows, depositing dough. Said you down with the mafia family, let me know. Yeah, number one, I don't do number two. They watching how I do because I'm really hood. Red hoodie, gold jewelry, too groovy, might lose me. Don't approach with the foolery. Keep the two on me, homie. You don't know me, Rick the Dawn, the one and only. Yeah. I'm Rick the Dawn. You're watching the Really Hood podcast. Thank you for watching, by the way. Today's episode was brought to you by reallyhood.com, a space where independent artists can submit their videos for the world to see. Now, today's episode is called The Great White Hope, and this topic came to me about 2 years ago. I believe a black man was gunned down, and then you had this group of white people congregate at the shooting site at which they were protesting in favor of the black person who was murdered by the police officers. And that really changed my perspective about the white people in America. It told me something I already knew, but I never really had visual confirmation of it. It told me that not all white people are the same. Not all white people hate black people. Not all white people are in support of white supremacy. Not all white people are racist. That's what it taught me. And not only did that imagery sparked that belief in my brain, something else really touched me, right? Those group of people not only were like rioting and just like chanting like, justice for, that wasn't all they were doing. They were burning Nazi and Ku Klux Klan memorabilia. I had never seen that before. And I was like, wow, this is something that I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. It was just so different. That is the inspiration for this episode because unfortunately, white people are generally cast as evil and it's not fair at all. I'll tell you something that also touched me, right? Yesterday, I was watching television and what I'm about to say could be seen as controversial, but white people are some of the most disrespected people on the planet. They're some of the most disregarded people on the planet. And they are arguably some of the most mistreated people on the planet. Let me explain my point before I create a mass movement against myself. I was watching television yesterday. It was a cartoon of a white lady who was blow drying her hair. She was blow drying her hair, which was straight. But when she turned the blow dryer off, her hair knotted up and it basically looked like an afro, a white version of an afro. And I said to myself, that is a cartoon that is on national television. I believe it was an ad. I don't remember the name of the company that was using it. But I do know this. If we change the skin color of that lady who was blow drying her hair, at which when she stopped blow drying her hair, it knotted up into a huge afro. If we just change the skin color of that lady, it becomes a national outcry. Especially if her skin color is brown. You would have black people in total disgust about what they had just seen in this animated promotion by some company. But because it was a white woman, the commercial goes off, nobody's talking about it. That is insane. All right. Now, I do believe that black people can be very, very sensitive. Okay. I do believe there's a such thing as black sensitivity. Sometimes black people are just a little too sensitive, in my opinion. All right, we talk about all this black appropriation, but then you'll see a black woman wear weave, which in my opinion is white appropriation. But that's the topic for a different day. What I'll say is that cartoon illustrated a lot to me. It says that white people go through image bashing on a daily basis. If you watch a lot of movies, zombie movies, usually the extras being shot down and gunned down are white. They never complain about it. They never really have an uproar about it. I'll say that generally speaking, the white male or the white female or the white race in general, especially as it relates to America, has really gotten a bad rep. Now, is it deserving? Probably so. Depends on who you ask. But I do believe in a such thing as evolution. Not necessarily evolution in how man was created, okay? But evolution in terms of what time does to the human civilization. I believe that it is possible for them to have evolved from that to just a normal Caucasian person in America who has no slaves, has no desire to ever own them. I believe in that sort of evolution. And I think that we also need to evolve. I'm talking about non-white individuals. We also need to evolve and allow them to change, allow them to be themselves. I personally believe that the white race has gone through significant trauma. Not more trauma than the black race necessarily, but I believe they've gone through a lot of trauma. If you look at some of the things, or you listen to some of the stories, or you read some of the historical documents about some of the things they were doing, those type of things are very disturbing. Hanging somebody is a very evil act. Lynching someone and cutting a person's parts off and all that stuff, that's really that's demonic. When you hang somebody and you're shooting them while they hang, that's demonic, man. That's satanic in my opinion. There's a great need for therapy, some type of release, because to be frank, all that evil stuff that we heard about in terms of white history, I don't think it really went to many places. I think it's being suppressed. And if you know anything about suppression, that doesn't necessarily mean it's gone. It's just being contained, right? And when you look at some white Americans, you might notice they're just kind of like always on edge because they're trying to contain all these evil urges. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. When I see white people, they look very uptight and they're trying, I'm like, man, it's probably very hard being a white person in America because, and they can't talk about the hardships of being a white person in America because it doesn't quite resonate. You already have everything. You are at the top of the food chain. How can you possibly need help? That's usually the narrative. But I would argue that it's not necessarily the correct narrative. I think the white race needs some therapy. They need some support because a lot of the stuff that they done, their ancestors have done, is pretty shameful, man. In a lot of cases. Now, some of it is very honorable, like establishing a whole country. Now, that's a different discussion for a different day. But I'll say a lot of it is honorable stuff that I personally admire. Like, I like go-getters. I like people who go and take charge. I like that. So I kind of respect that aspect. But some of it is a little disturbing, to put it lightly. And I don't know if all of those energies have evaporated into the abyss. Some of this stuff I would argue is still there and it's being suppressed, which is why we see a lot of mass shootings, and a lot of times it's from the white race. And I'm not trying to be racist here, but a lot of I think the numbers suggest that. If you look at the statistics of police shootings, I would argue that the white man dominates that statistic in terms of police civilian shootings, right? And I think a lot of that is just suppressed, anxiety and anger that has never been catered to. So here's what I would say. If I was in the position to do so, and some might argue that this podcast gives me that position, but I mean more like a authoritarian position, like a president, something like that. And as president, one of the first few things I would do is seek to provide some sort of service for the white race to decompress from their history. As a black president, that would be one of the first things I did, because I would imagine I would have a lot of white people very upset that I'm in that position. But to ease those storms, I would say, wait a minute, folks. I might be this color, but don't judge me on that, because the Lord might have infused in my makeup or genetic makeup the things that help you. And one of those things would be, again, to seek some type of therapy and some type of release or some type of program which seeks to highlight some of the positive things about white history that are often just overshadowed. And I would seek to allow, white men and women to go places where they can openly talk about their history without being condemned, right? I would probably institute a White History Month. I would probably do stuff like that. You know why? Because they need it, man. I think a lot of the white pushback that we get in this country towards Black Lives Matter and all that stuff is just jealousy. Like, why can't we get that? Why don't we have a WLM, White Lives Matter? Why don't we have that? I feel like a lot of that pushback is because they don't have some of these things, and they need them. Okay, when you have a group of people lynching a black person for whatever reasons, that's sick. And that tells me there's a sickness within the white race that probably, for all intents and purposes, has not really been resolved, which is why we keep hearing about racism in America. Why isn't racism in America over yet? You know why? Because we haven't properly dealt with it, okay? A lot of people want to walk on eggshells and be politically correct. Well, that wouldn't be the case if I was the president. I would say, listen, the white race is great, period. See, I'm unbiased. I'm objective. I respect any group of people who can put their minds together and function as a sole unit. You can't even shine in the black race without somebody trying to take you down. That is disheartening. The white race is one of the most cohesive units out there. And I believe that should be something that we can use as a exemplary model. Our people are still fighting and conflicting with each other all the time. It's like so many voices, and it creates a situation that is just disharmonious. I was watching a documentary not long ago. It was a jail documentary, and you had the Bloods, you had the Crips, you had the Folks, all these different gangs. And then when you went to the white side, it was just the Aryan Brotherhood, just one gang. It wasn't these little sectors because they're divided amongst each other. It was the Aryan Brotherhood. That was it. It wasn't the Aryan Brotherhood Brotherhood number 1, the Aryan Brotherhood number 2, the Aryan Brotherhood number 3. It was the Aryan Brotherhood. If you got that skin color, we on the same team. Man, what? And you wonder why they have accomplished so much, because they move as a unit. Now, that's all I'll say about that, because I don't want to glorify some of the negative things and the negative connotations, but I just want to make a point. I'm not afraid to go against the masses to make my point. And as the president, they would have their own month. They would have, we would have open discussions about white history. We would pull all the beautiful things out that are usually overshadowed, establishing a democracy and things of that nature. I was watching something, some awesome lady was saying that every month was White History Month, or every day was White History Day, or something like that. That was the reason why we didn't have a dedicated White History Month. She was saying like, hey, we don't need that. We already have it. Every day is White History Day, or every month is White History Month. And I understood where she was coming from, but here's the problem. It needs to be a dedicated month. All right. And honestly, in my world, every month is not White History Month. Okay, I'm sorry, that's just not true. In my world, I mean, I don't look at white people as this all-seeing God or whatever some of these people look at. I look at white people as just another person. When I see white people, I just say, hey, that's another person with a different skin color. God likes variety. He didn't want everybody to be one type of person. So, hey, when I see a white person, I always kind of wait and see who they are first. The same thing I do when I see a black person. I don't go to every black person like, hey, what's up, brother? No, I wait to see who they are first. And I do that with every race. Asian, no matter who it is. Hispanic, Arabic, hey, who is this person before I engage with them? So, in my world, the white man is not king, and neither is the black man or anybody else. We're all children of God in my world. So I don't believe that every month is a White History Month. I think that they need one, though. I think they should have one, and I would be glad to give them one if I were ever in a position to give them one. They would have it. It's done. Not a problem. Now, as president, I would do my part to decriminalize the white race. And by that, what I mean is, the white race is not this one big conglomerate where they're all the same. Not every white person is this way. I would have actual commercials, because I think visual image is something that is very, very powerful. They say that a image or a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, I think a video is worth 1,000,000 words. So I would have like commercials where you have a white man standing there or a white family standing there, and then you'll have all these little things coming out like, I am not a racist. I am not a KKK member. I am not a hater of black people. I am not a hater of Mr. You'll have all these little words popping up, and as the commercial ends, it'll probably say something like, I am a human being. So what does that commercial say? It says, we can't paint all white people with this broad brush and say you're all racist, because that's not true. It's not the case. And I have some white friends. I know this sounds really bad, but I have some white friends, and they're some of the greatest people, man. I really love Binks. I really love Cam Myers. Shout out to those guys. I know you're probably not watching this, but if you were, shout out to those kind of guys, man. Those guys are just amazing people, not because they're white or because of their European makeup. It's because they're just good people, man. I love those guys. And, I just hate the fact that, they are often grouped into this mass conglomerate of hatred. Like, it's not all white people are like that. We need some imagery of white cops in the civil rights era doing the right thing. Where's those pictures at? I haven't seen them. Where's the picture of the white cop who interfered with the white cop that was beating on somebody? I bet you it's something out there, we just haven't seen it, where a white cop intervened when another white cop was doing the wrong thing, or a white cop helping a black woman up off the ground. Where's that stuff at? We need that. Go into the archives of white history and pull that stuff out and put it in front of the public, so my friends like Binks and Cam Myers they don't have to feel like they did something wrong. Those guys are not tied to some of this history, man. They just tied to it by their genetic code. Anyway, check out this song by me and my boy Binks. Check it out.
Just a little black boy with some rap tunes. Dear Mr. Competition, I'll be home soon. After millions, you can't stop it, we on our way. As they say, the same song, just a different day.
Just a little white boy with some rap tunes. Dear Mr. Competition, I'll be home soon. After meals, you can't stop us, see we on our way. As they say, the same song, just a different day.
My brain is contagious, like herpes or AIDS. Still in the hood, like pit bulls in cages. Specialist agent, tasers or lasers. Nice metaphors, they don't make you the greatest. Ooh, shorty heartless, you need a G. He's a P, prom queen. I seen dudes put white chips on scales. They never get caught, they invisible. Teflon, bulletproof, these dudes fairy tales. I'm the real you, rats run wild when your traps close. I'm just a lion dog and some rat's clothes. You got a body, never scared. Just a murder cap, we make it rain on superheads. If you was smart, you would sign me. Better do the right thing like Spike Lee. Just a little black boy with some rap tunes. Dear Mr. Competition, I'll be home soon. After millions, you can't stop it, we on our way. As they say, the same song, just a different day.
Just a little white boy with some rap tunes. Dear Mr. Competition, I'll be home soon. After meals, you can't stop us, see we on our way. As they say, the same song, just a different day. I remember when they all thought this was just a joke. Like, you ain't black, white boy, better get some hope. Well, I got some hope and I got some artichoke. That's food for thought, try not to choke. Surrounded by fools, so I'm trying not to cope. I'm the definition of everything you never spoke. Can't blame the truth, homie, gotta let it be. And them stunner shades ain't gonna really help you see. Understand that nothing in this world is free. I'm the art of business and only the smart will succeed. Yeah, you see I got the air you need to breathe, but I'm charging dudes $10 per CD. And $10 ain't really nothing to a G. So I buy my own stuff and live for the eternity. Yeah, the end's coming, better be prepared. Black or white, either way my Nikes are rare.
Just a little black boy with some rap tunes. Dear Mr. Competition, I'll be home soon. After millions, you can't stop it, we on our way. As they say, the same song, just a different day.
Just a little white boy with some rap tunes. Dear Mr. Competition, I'll be home soon. After meals, you can't stop us, see we on our way. As they say, the same song, just a different day.
Black boy,
White boy,
black boy,
white boy,
black boy,
white boy.
as they say, the same song, just a different day.
White boy,
Black boy,
white boy,
black boy,
white boy.
black boy, as they say, the same song, just a different day.
All right, so let's go ahead and put a nice ribbon on this very controversial topic. I would like to say that not all white people are bad people. I would like to say that if I was the president, they would have a dedicated month. They would have commercials. They would have opportunities to discuss their internal conflicts. These are just some of the rudimentary things. Now, I don't necessarily agree with statues which highlight people who hated anybody that was a different color, so those would probably still be gone. I don't necessarily agree with the flag and all that type of stuff being places because it doesn't inspire unity, so those things wouldn't probably be okay with me. However, I would ensure that I highlight that goodness is not a color. Goodness is a character. We have to look at everybody according to the contents of their character, not based on anything other than that. And my prayer is that this episode shows just how much I admire the white race, despite some of the episodes in which I'm really going in. I'm talking about specific situations, and I'm trying to make sure we shed light on things that need to be talked about. Kind of like this topic where the white man and woman in America is not all evil. Just like I kind of condemn some white actions, I have to also say, hey, I approve and I appreciate and I like some of these things that's going on, especially within or as it relates to the white race. As you respect this, I hope you can also respect my objective take on some of these other things that involve the white race, because I believe that it'll be very, very easy for somebody watching those episodes to say that guy's a black nationalist, that guy doesn't like what. That's BS. Okay, I like good people. I'm anti-evil. That's what I am. And I hope that this episode does a lot to show that. Of course, if you are a person of European descent and you're watching this and you want to have a debate and you want to have a part 2 to this discussion, I am so open for that. We can meet on Zoom and I'll record it and it'll be one of my episodes. We can talk about it and talk about healing black and white relations. And I would say healing worldwide relations, honestly. But with that being said, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I hope I didn't offend anybody. And if I did, blame my mind and not my heart. I love everybody. And I hope that everyone has a great day. God bless.